Future Jam.
All right, welcome to the Future Jam, a tech news podcast for enthusiasts and casual listeners alike. I'm here with Alex again. He's back from his spring break.
Yeah,
How was your trip, buddy?
It was good. Just went back to see the family. I like the new intro. You been working on that?
Oh, yeah, I typed it up real quick.
No? Really?
Yeah. Somebody said they didn't know what this podcast was. I don't know how you could stumble into this podcast and not realize it's in the tech category, or, you read the show notes and see all the links to stories that we have. I don't know. People get confused pretty easily these days.
To be fair, when you brought the podcast up to me about doing, I thought it was about jam, and that's why I was interested, because I'm a big grape jam and strawberry jam guy.
No, it's more jam. Like, that's my jam. Like, the future technology stuff is my jam, and I guess that's kind of my idea behind that.
Would you say it's more like a space jam?
Yeah, that's a terrible movie.
The new one looks fun.
Yeah, I could take it or leave it. I mean, I'm sure if I had kids, maybe I would say, hey, kids, let's watch this basketball movie, but...
Gather around, kids, if you will watch this basketball movie.
You'll love it. I mean, when I was a kid, we had classics at like Air Bud and stuff like that. But, you get this.
And I don't think anyone has considered Air Bud a classic.
Well, I mean, it's not too often that you get a golden retriever like as a starring role.
That's true. They
are the best type of dog.
I don't want to go that far.
No, I mean, I would go that far. I just did.
As a guy who has a dog and you don't have a golden retriever...
Next best thing, he's a golden doodle, doesn't shed. He's a golden retriever that doesn't shed. He has like a additional like bonus.
Yeah, but he did shed a tear when you said a golden retriever is the best dog.
He's not listening. He's upstairs.
He's going to listen tomorrow like he always does.
I try not to let him listen to it. He's too young and immature. He won't understand what his dad's talking about.
Well, the graphic language is what really gets you. You don't want him listening to that.
Exactly. You want to jump in? We have like a fully loaded dumb tech of the week section. I mean, you could argue that a lot of our stories would fall into the dumb category, but let's just jump right into it.
Well, we have a lot of dumb tech of the week and awesome tech of the week. So
yeah, we should have a section called Awesome Tech of the Week.
We do have one, and it's coming up. I'll let you know when it is.
Okay, I will look forward to that. I'll keep my eyes open and peeled. Facebook always leads the top of the list of dumb tech, and their app's dumb. I just think Facebook's dumb in general, personally. I have it, and I don't know why. I always think I should just delete it. But again, they're embroiled in another scandal where they leaked or lots and lots of users' phone numbers and names somehow ended up on a big, huge list. And people are selling it online and using it to call and spam call you and steal your identity and all that stuff.
Yeah, so Facebook started this thing where, like, if you had somebody's phone number, it can connect to your friends, and you could be closer to your friends by connecting your phone list to them. So
it's annoying too. Like, they send you like notification after notification, like, "Hey, do you want us to upload your phone book so we can scan for friends?"
Yeah, every website does that, and I don't want you to do it.
Yeah,
I don't want you to have access to my contacts. My full contacts on my phone need to be left alone.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of contacts, but the people you do know are very rich and powerful.
Yep. But like somebody just like uploaded like every phone number and it connected all these people to find out this is this person's phone number.
Because you can just type a phone number into Facebook because it'll ask you, do you know this person's name or phone number? And you can just type in the phone number and it'll link you to their profile. So the hacker used that to make a huge database of everybody's name and phone number like tied together.
533 million people. But the thing is, like, Facebook lately has been just making it seem like it's your fault that you got hacked and it wasn't like their system. And they were warned about this in like 2019 that this thing that they were putting out was not like a good idea. Like, it wasn't safe.
They were warned by he's called a ethical hacker, And this ethical hacker warned him in 2017.
2017, that's it.
And then they said they fixed it in 2019. So they fixed it 2 years later. And I just don't understand why they had this feature to begin with. I guess they wanted to use it for advertising purposes, most likely. That's the only thing I can guess.
Yeah, they've been having a lot of issues have been tied to advertising dollars, and that's how they make their money. But yeah, they want to connect people, and they probably would sell your phone number because you signed the consent form or agreed to the terms and conditions when you first signed up. But Facebook is now just pushing the blame off on you and not taking any responsibility lately. I mean, they'll get sued for this. The one person said they deleted their Facebook 4 years ago, and it was part of this hack.
And they're on the list. Yeah, I guess they said that you should have gone in and changed your privacy settings so that your phone number is not visible to anybody when they search. But it's on by default, I'm pretty sure. And why would you think that somebody would be able to circumvent the system and use that information against you? You just trust that Facebook's not going to allow somebody to plug in 20,000 numbers and find out your identity. So I don't know. I just think Facebook doesn't really care about us.
They do not care. I think they're under the idea that people are still going to have Facebook.
They're going to use it regardless of how badly they manage it.
Until another social media thing comes along that's like Facebook. Because Instagram is still different. TikTok is still a little bit different. The one where you can just connect and post pictures to your friends. And message your friends and things like that. Facebook has so many privacy issues. And they were saying Mark Zuckerberg doesn't even use Facebook Messenger as his messaging app. He uses Signal.
Signal's better. I use Signal as well.
Yeah, so if you're the owner of the company and you don't want to use it, then what are you saying to your people, the people that use it, your fan base?
I almost feel if Google released Google Plus now, their social media platform that was competing with Facebook, I almost think that would be a good competitor. They released it too early, maybe.
You think Google, there's been a lot of backlash against Google lately.
Yeah.
I think it has to be
company.
another new company.
What company would you even trust? I think a lot of people. I think you would rather trust a big company that even though it's terrible, than a unknown company with your data, right?
Well,
that's personally how I feel.
But I think it's anything where you have to just kind of start off small and. You look at Clubhouse and all these ones that are now starting smaller and slowly getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. That's what you're gonna have to do. Just have a small fan base, and Discord is another one that people like using, and it's a smaller market, but it's getting bigger and bigger.
But yeah, they're none of them are directly competing, like you said, with Facebook. And another big company that really doesn't have a lot of good competition is Spotify. And I added this to the Dumb Tech of the Week because I think any company developing a voice assistant for their app, I think that's just dumb. You can already ask Siri or Google or Alexa to do this.
This is where we disagree. So I didn't mind this idea. I haven't used it yet, but Spotify started this, their voice assistant, where you just say, hey, Spotify, and it brings up your phone. You can play song on artists as long as you give Spotify permission to your microphone. So, and it's only will record what your search is when you're using Spotify. So once you say, hey, Spotify, it will start recording it. So anything outside of that, it won't record. That's the worry about Siri and Google, that they're just constantly recording you. But I would use this because I was doing the dishes the other day and I wanted to listen to a different artist. My hands are all wet and all. If I could just say hey, Spotify, play this, I would use it. Yeah,
but Alexa already does that. You could just tell Alexa to do it.
Yeah, but if I'm using my phone.
Alexa's on your phone. You could just download the Alexa app.
No, I'm not downloading the Alexa app. I don't have...
Or Google. You could just say, hey, I'm not going to say it, but you could ask Google to do it.
No, let's use Spotify. I'm in that app. I don't use Siri. I don't use what that Bixby that Samsung tries to force on you.
I honestly don't even think Samsung remembers they have Bixby as a voice assistant. I don't think they remember.
Like every so often, I accidentally hit the button, and I'm like, "Just go away." I'm not using
You can
this.
disable the Bixby button, right?
I thought I did, and then just sometimes it brings it up.
I totally forgot about Bixby until you just brought it up right there. But you make a good point. Like, I was looking at it from the perspective, like, I already use all these other voice assistants and they're pretty useful. And why would I use another? And it sounds like you don't really use them that much. So maybe this is designed for people who aren't like actively using the Google one or the Alexa one on their phone.
Yeah, I think I looked at it and like, yeah, I would use this. And then also the rumor is they want to do like put one in like the car, say while you're driving you can use it. I think that would be big. Like a lot of people would use that.
Yeah, you'd probably be more apt to like use a voice assistant while you're driving, because your hands are tied up on the wheel, or should be at least.
I think if they get the car thing, like, would you see it? Because you know how like some cars like now it comes with Apple Music or like Sirius XM, like Spotify would be like a thing that you can get
It's
to your
annoying though, because it's just another thing to look for. Like you're buying a car, like dang, now I have to look at does it support my phone properly? Like that just seems like an annoying thing. I wish automakers would come to like some sort of agreement and say, hey, we'll support these things going forward. Like this is universal.
Well, wait till we get to a later topic where we talk about electrical charging stations. So, which is a lot bigger a deal. No, but yeah, I could see that. Like this car comes with like Apple Music and all, and like I think some come with Amazon. Maybe I could be wrong.
Alexa is in a lot of cars now, and so is Apple CarPlay. I think it's called CarPlay, and then also Android Auto. So all three of those are like the big players.
Yeah, I just don't use any of that when I'm driving. I mean, I have my cassette tape that I listen to, and that's it.
You do love your 8-track tapes. I don't know why you have that.
For the most I do hook my phone up to Bluetooth to play Spotify through the car.
I actually pictured you having one of those old cassette adapters that had the auxiliary cord.
We used to have one growing up. They were big.
I did too. Yeah, we never had the newer cars. That was the only way to play music in the car back then, from like a little portable CD player.
Yeah, but now they don't even like have CD players in cars. Like the newer cars don't sell them.
Funny thing is, I actually use my CD player in my car as like a mount system for my phone. So I found a mount that fits into the CD slot, and I mount up my phone there.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's neat. I never seen one of those like that.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'll never use my CD player.
Because a lot of them use the vent.
Yeah, a lot of them use the vent and it falls off.
Yeah, or they like stick onto the thing.
Yeah. Speaking of Bixby earlier, let's jump into another Samsung-ism. And Samsung is always very strange with their marketing. And I don't quite understand it because I don't think they're going to win customers over by doing this. But they release a website where if you have an iPhone, you can go to it and like pretend like you're using a Samsung phone on your iPhone. Like it downloads an app, like I guess they call it a web app. It downloads a web app and it can interact with this fake phone on your phone. And it's a Samsung phone and it's supposed to like represent all this awesome Samsung experience. But the thing is that I find dumb about this and funny is I've never heard anybody say, hey, I bought this Samsung phone because I love the layout. I've never heard anybody ever say that to me.
Well, because most Android phones' layouts are all kind of the same. I feel like most phones' layouts are now kind of the same since like they've moved more to like that's the apps.
Since when is the layout of a phone like the selling point anyways? Like the selling point of the Samsung is its camera, the camera a lot of times. And you can't even see that added benefit in the stupid demo.
Well, yeah. Well, let's be fair. The app is called iTest, which I kind of find it funny. But like Apple has done this before, and you're talking about the layout. A big reason why a lot of people I think get Apple or like iPhones is because it's super simple to use.
It's almost too simple. I think it's like makes me feel dumb while I use it.
I think you can't argue that it's not the easiest one to use.
Easy and useful are two different things. So there's stuff that are easy to use, but like you can't do as much with them, and that's why I go Android, because there's so many different ways to like change things to my own needs, you know?
Yeah, but I'm not saying like easy. Like that,
Yeah,
I
true,
understand what you're saying. I'm not saying easy to use. The iPhone is super simple to use.
Yeah, I would agree to that too.
But like, I think like because I was always towards the end of my iPhone run, like I was debating on switching it. And like when you do use somebody's Android phone for the first time, it's like a little bit different and it kind of throws you off. Even when I use my wife's Google Pixel, it's like a little bit different. It takes me a little bit longer to get to something. I can see like testing it out and be like, okay, I can see myself getting used to this.
So do you think this is more for people who are already on the fence and they're looking to just get an idea before they go out and buy it?
I think so, because like the Galaxies and all are getting a lot better.
Yeah, they are. I mean, arguably they have the best hardware now, I think. But
yeah, and like Samsung is really, I feel like they've become like a lot bigger player now. Like there was a lot more like with LG and like all these other companies, and like Samsung was always there, a little bit better than the rest, but I feel like they have kind of distanced themselves even more so.
Yeah, in the world market, I think Samsung and Apple keep trading places for like the number one like phone manufacturer, like amount of phones. I think Samsung is still like number one as far as I remember, but I think that switches out per quarter and that type of thing. But I guess I just think it's dumb to do this to. I don't know. I just think this whole.
I think it's funny.
They said the app is like humorous in some way. I don't know how.
Well, like
that's
you can make
possible.
like simulated phone calls and things like that, and they're like, well, they put on one thing. They really dumb down like the settings on the phone, and they're just like, oh, programmers need to sleep sometimes. You don't need to like go into the settings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did see one thing you could do fake text messaging like with people, and I'm like, isn't the main selling point of the iPhone the iMessage app? Like you'll immediately see the poor app messaging on Samsung and then realize I want to stick with my iPhone because I have iMessage. I don't think they should like spotlight that as like a feature.
Is iMessage that good?
It's not that good. It's compatible with all the other. You can like and haha and whatever.
Yeah, you can like a video and stuff like that.
Yeah, stupid stuff like that. That's again. That's why I'm never gonna buy an iPhone, just because I don't want to kowtow to somebody else who says, "Hey, Mike, I can't react to your message."
Well, you don't want the pressure of like, do I like this video or do I love this video? Like or love?
I hate the pressure. Speaking of like. I don't have a good transition for this one.
Speaking of pressure, what if your car battery didn't have any?
Yeah, I have a terrible transition for this, but a lot of people. This hasn't really made a lot of headlines. The Mustang
I'm surprised.
Mach-E has not Mach-E.
Mach-E, yeah.
Yeah,
kind of like the Mach 5.
It kind of came out to little to no fanfare. I haven't really heard a lot of people even talking about it much. It was supposed to be like Ford's answer to the Tesla Model Y and the Model 3, and I hear it's actually quite good.
Yeah, the reviews have all been great for it.
But it's lacking in a lot of ways because I don't think Ford is really a software company. So when you're buying an electric car, you're basically buying a computer on wheels. And that's one thing I don't completely trust with like the legacy automakers is that they have all their software and their computer stuff like above board.
Yeah, especially at this point. I think they'll get there eventually, but they're going to have to put in the money and effort into making them worthwhile.
But this story I thought was pretty funny. I guess if you have this only is affecting I don't even know how many they sold so far, but I think this sounds like it's only affecting probably a handful of models, 20, 30, who knows. But basically while they're charging, electric cars typically have two different style batteries. They have the 12-volt battery, kind of like what you have in your car now, like your gas engine. And they have the main battery that powers the car. So the 12-volt battery is usually used to like start the vehicle and do other like smaller tasks like that, run the computer system, all that stuff. The funny thing is the 12-volt battery is supposed to be charged up by the main battery when it's like sitting on the charger. And the thing that has been happening is as the vehicle charges up, the 12-volt battery is not getting the charge it needs, and it completely dies and bricks the car, so you can't start it and use it.
Yeah, so I guess they call it like the deep sleep mode, and then all the car it's supposed to be when this battery dies, the car can't go. So but like it's the software error that they've found out in cars that were built on or before February 3rd. It seems like they do have a fix for it, and they put in new systems. Yeah. But it's just kind of these electric cars are trying to take off, and stuff like this doesn't help. And like, oh, your car doesn't start, and it's just.
What's funny is the main battery is fully charged. Like you have 100%, like your car is 100% charged, but it can't start because the small 12-volt battery is not charged.
Well, and like it's because the article is saying like the primary is what starts the car on the Mustang.
No, so, it's like, the 12-volt. The 12-volt runs the start.
I thought it was because once it said it was in the deep sleep mode, like once the car registers that battery's dead, it won't start.
Well, I guess they said that it forces it into a deep sleep like state, like the 12-volt battery. So it's I don't know if it's actually in deep sleep. And the other thing that I found funny about this is Ford doesn't have an over-the-air fix yet, so you have to actually bring it into a Ford dealer to get the update. But they said they're gonna push an update like down the road sometime, like that will fix this. But if you need it fixed right now, you can't get it fixed unless you go to the dealer.
Yeah, so it would be interesting to see like just electric cars in the future, like when because like just like your phone or any software technology that needs an update. And they push in, like, sometimes it has, like, the bugs afterwards. Like, with your car, if, like, that stuff happens.
That's the thing, is they're all computers, so, like, I don't know if I want to buy a computer car yet. Because I just know, like, how bad, like, the first phones were.
Yeah, and, like, you even saw that with, like, the first Teslas and all, that they had their issues. I think they'll eventually get better. But, I mean, I can't afford any of these cars right now anyway, so I can afford to wait 5 or 10 years.
But could you afford the new Hasbro Optimus Prime $700 toy?
You mean awesome tech of the week?
Wait, you put this in dumb tech of the week, Alex.
Well, no, this is my awesome tech of the week. Awesome tech of the week. Bum, 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 bum. Awesome tech of the week. That's right, Mike. Hasbro has created a Optimus Prime toy that transforms itself. How awesome is this, Mike?
It was cool. I watched a TikTok video, and they showed it transforming from the semi-truck to Optimus Prime, and then they also transformed back. And it's voice command, so you could say Optimus Prime, I guess, transform?
Yeah.
And then he does it, yeah. And then you could say Optimus Prime roll out, and he transforms into a semi-truck again.
Did you have a lot of Transformers growing up?
Yeah. I love the show, and I like Beast Wars as well. But for some reason, I guess my parents didn't really have a lot of toys like that growing up. I didn't really have a lot of like that type of stuff.
Yeah, because I grew up with my older brothers. They had more of like the cars, like Transformers, but then I grew up with Beast Wars more, so we had like the animal Transformers. And it would get frustrating, like if you didn't like transform one of them in a long time, to forget how to do it and to get it back. So I think I get frustrated.
That was part of the fun, though, was like when you get to, at least for me, I went to a friend's house and got to play with these. But the fun part was figuring out like how it did it. This kind of takes the fun out of it. This seems like it's more of a toy for like a novelty toy. Like
it's a collector item.
It's a collector's item.
Like
I would have liked it better though if it was actually not so obviously plastic. It looks very plastic.
Yeah, I wonder if it is. I mean, it's 19 inches tall. It has
how many
20
moving parts it had? It said it had like 500 moving parts or something.
I
crazy.
thought it had 5,000 components.
5,000 components.
27 motors, 16 connected microchips. So it seems like it's a decent amount to move it.
I will say this, though, the coolest or one of the cool things I saw with it is when he transformed into the robot, it didn't just stand there. It kind of like looked like it was breathing, like its shoulders would move up and down, and it would kind of like move up and down like it was living and breathing. So I thought that was like a nice added touch because you don't really see that in toys that often.
Yeah, I mean, it's $700, so that'll be, I would imagine
it better be great, yeah.
But, like, this is something, like, if I just had money, if I was, like, a single guy and just had money, I might buy this.
I'd be tempted if I was, like, right out of high school and I had, like, a bunch of money to burn, like, back when I was really into this stuff. But I'm not really much one to buy, like, stuff that sits around my house, honestly. But I think it's cool, kind of, but way too expensive.
Would you rather have this or NFT?
I would never want an NFT ever, and I don't even want to really talk about them ever again.
Finally, something we agree on.
I just don't understand them completely, and I just find it kind of dumb.
Yeah, so this Optimus Prime toy's not looking so dumb, is it? That's why it's our awesome tech of the week.
All right, you snuck that one in there on me, but you also added Elon Musk's Boring Company, and I think this. I mean, parts of this is dumb, and parts of this is awesome. His Boring Company idea of like, I guess making tunnels really cheap and fast. I think that's cool. I think that's a good idea. But his other idea, where he builds tunnels to drive Teslas through it really fast, I think that's dumb.
Yeah, so we were going to call this segment "Lame Ass Tunnel Tech of the Week."
It is pretty lame ass tunnel tech.
Yeah, so Elon Musk has this idea because traffic, especially in California, is so bad. There's too many cars on the road and not enough space, and no public transportation in Southern California. I know it's not the best, supposedly. So like he wanted to make these tunnels under the city. And, like, you kind of take your car, would go in the elevator down and be on, like, these track things, and it would move it through the tunnel. And, like, the whole idea of it looks cool and sounds cool. So they can go up to speeds of, like, 120 miles per hour, and they're not big tunnels.
Yeah, they're super tiny tunnels, so if you were controlling this vehicle yourself, if you, like, turn the wheel the wrong way, you'd be in the wall, like, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to come up with some sort of like not necessarily self-driving, but some way to keep you like centered on the road underneath there.
I imagine it would be the track things that they have, which like then makes me think like how like imagine eventually like there'll have to be some slowdown. You know, if there's so many cars using this, which would be defeat the purpose of these tunnels.
But the thing is, I'm just thinking this right off the top of my head. I feel like this is for rich people to skip traffic. I don't know if this is actually a idea that's going to be used for the common person.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. It's for like the rich people that skip traffic. So, but they built like a prototype tunnel in Las Vegas by like the convention center, and it's like does nothing what they say. So like it's like 35 miles per hour. It looks
how embarrassing! 35 miles per hour.
It's like it just like looks lame, and they put like these neon lights on it, like they kind of like jazz it up. But again, all it is a tunnel, and like they have like a service station, like a plaza. But like in this one, like you drive into it. It's just stupid.
These are like hundreds and hundreds of feet below ground. So wouldn't there be a traffic jam to get into the tunnel?
That's what I thought too with like the elevators, because like you watch like the promo video, it's just this car stops in traffic and moves over, and like the elevator takes them down. Like I think this is like a far-fetched idea that he's really gung-ho for, but like I just don't see like it being worth the money, because like as much as cheaply as he made tunnel building, and that's supposed to be like the goal, it's still not that cheap.
And also, it's only for Teslas too, so it's just another thing that like is proprietary to Tesla. And we'll get into this later on in the episode with the charging stuff, but yeah, it's just another way for them to promote their brand, I think. But it's just dumb. It's just for rich people to skip traffic, basically.
No, like I can see like the track thing catching on. Like say like if you wanted, they just had one going from like San Diego to like L.A. and like like you weren't getting off anywhere. You just going.
If it's a long trip, like an hour trip or 2 hours trip, it would make sense for that. Yeah, maybe, but
like this just made it seem like listen to him talk about it. Just made it seem like it's just for like going around the city, and like it's still not going to be as like environmentally friendly as like public transportation.
No, because you're still like how many people can fit in one of these cars? Like 5, I think.
Supposedly they said like they can fit up to like 12 eventually, and
what 12 people in a Model 3? I guess they're gonna have like specific vehicles that would go in there. Or...
Yeah, so like that make like if. Cause like, and then you listen to him talk, and then it's like, it's going to be on tracks, and they'll have certain cars for it, and then there'll be like stations that you can get on and off. Like,
wait a minute, this is sounding more and more like
it sounded like a train.
A train.
Like private trains that you would take.
Oh yeah, this is not gonna. I'd be very surprised if this catches on and if this works really at all. Do you want to get the timer ready for the Tech Bytes?
Tech News Bytes.
The first tech news bite of the week is Domino's starts to make autonomous pizza deliveries. They announced this like a long time ago, I feel like, but they never.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, I feel like it was at least 2 or 3 years. I kind of forgot about it, honestly. But I guess they're doing a test market in Houston, and if you order like a pizza off the app, it'll give you the option to choose an autonomous delivery vehicle to deliver the pizza to your house. And it's only during like specific times and during specific days.
Yeah, and it's only the Woodland Heights area.
Is this like
Houston.
a rich neighborhood like that has like no traffic whatsoever?
I have no idea. I imagine it has to be like a smaller traffic area that they're testing it out on. But yeah, you can have it delivered to your house, and there's a touchpad, and you put in a pin, and you get your pizza.
Would you? I would do this just kind of for the novelty, and maybe they're hoping to drum up sales just for people to do this. I think
I would do it depending on how I'm paying for the pizza.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have like money like to tip, I would feel bad, so I would do this.
Do you tip a robot?
No, I wouldn't tip a robot, but
okay.
if it was a person, I would tip them.
Oh.
That's part of the reason I don't do the delivery is I don't like having
Tipping people?
Yeah, like because like especially if I don't have cash on me, because a lot of times you can pay online, but you pay online, but you should tip the delivery driver cash so they get the cash.
But you can tip them on the website. Do you just feel weird doing that?
I heard mixed reviews about like if they actually get it or not. So I was always told it's better just to give them cash so they actually get it.
Oh, okay. Huh. But maybe this will drum up because I feel like hotels have done this with getting room service robots, and I feel like I would get room service just because there's a robot. So maybe that's what Domino's is doing here. But
you love robots. Time, Mike.
All right, next one up is Google is accelerating partial reopening of offices after like everybody being like remote during COVID.
Yeah, I think this is a big deal because like most of these tech companies were like, we're not going back in the office.
Well, Facebook, I think, and Twitter both said they weren't.
Yeah, but like you think about Google built that campus. They're not going to like, know what? We're not using that campus anymore.
That's true. I totally forget Google has like a amazing campus, and don't they have like gourmet like cooks and stuff, like giving people free food and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's what they like. They have like a ton of perks and all, but it's only 3 days a week that people have to go in starting September 1st.
That's not too bad. That's kind of like where that's the sweet spot for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if we did that at my job. Like my job, we're back 5 days a week in like an office setting. I mean, my company owns the building. Like, why not have people in there if you own it? You know, it's just going to waste.
I did see. It's funny that they, I guess, redid the office space a little bit. So I guess certain sections you can bring your dog in.
Yeah, that's stupid. Don't bring a dog to work.
I don't think it's a good idea. Just it's distracting, and if it's a dog that sheds, not a good idea. I don't know.
I think that it's trying to keep employees happy because they are bringing them back. A lot of people don't want to go back.
Well, they did. I guess they said you have to, if you get hired on from here on out, you have to live within commute time of like an office. So I guess a lot of other places people got hired on and then just decided to move across the country. And I feel like my company had that issue as well, where people just kind of said we're moving without telling the company, and they just expect the company to go along with it. And Google's kind of like laying the foot down and saying, no, we're going to make you come back, guys.
Yeah, like that's like an odd move where like companies like, oh, we're remote now, so we're working remote, so we can just move. And like, what if your company does want to bring you back?
That's
you
true.
know,
Then you'll have to move or quit and get a different job.
Hey, but time on go.
Time on go. The French army is testing Boston Dynamics robot dog Spot in combat like training scenarios.
Oh, this makes sense. Like the whole thing about Spot was like it's super mobile and can get around places, and part of these things like you see it with like, I mean, there's robots in like the army now that go into places first, and like cops use them if there's like a bomb scare or things like that.
Yeah.
So like it does make sense. It seems like Boston Dynamic was kind of upset that they would link to this, but you made a mobile robot with sensors and all and cameras on it. This is what it's going to be used for.
Well, they used a third-party supplier, I guess, bought Spot from Boston Dynamics, and then that company supplied the Spot robot to the French army to test. The test, I think, some said it worked out pretty good. One guy said, I would have died if it wasn't for Spot. I don't know what Spot did. But Spot did run out of batteries, and they had to haul him off the battlefield, which I think was pretty funny.
I can see why Boston Dynamics is upset, because they don't want to be like, oh, we're making robots for the army now, or like for this cause. But
well, they did say that like a lot of the ideas were developed for the U.S. Army, but their whole thing is they don't want them to ever add weapons to Spot. And in case you don't know, Spot's like a robot-looking dog, horse, weird-looking quad pedal.
Yeah, it has 4 legs.
4 legs, yeah. Thank you.
It's a dog.
It's a dog. But what are they using it for? I guess scoping out.
Yeah,
stuff.
scoping out rooms to see if like there's bombs or traps or people in them.
I know they initially were going to use it like haul stuff on the side of it, like maybe extra ammunition or like.
Yeah, and that too. Like if they can. Oh, time's up, Mike.
All right, and GE is working to put COVID-19 virus detecting sensors in phones. I thought this is a weird one. I don't know if anybody will actually have this in their phone. I think these are more like specific phones that are going to be used for specific needs. Just like, some companies buy phones to check people out at the grocery store or whatever.
Yeah, it's so like, this third party company that they are using or that got the contract with GE, like can figure out how to scan, like the pretty much scan an area and to see what like germs or things on it, so they can eventually teach it to scan for COVID-19 or the flu.
I think it's a good idea for like just in general, like being able to scan for certain like targeted like strains of things. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, do you see people using this?
No, I don't see people using this on like their personal stuff, like. Because it's another chip. It's not built into additional, like a chip that exists on the phone. There's limited space on a phone for like different like chips and stuff. And I don't think a manufacturer is going to like give like that precious space to a chip that's only job is to scan for a virus.
But like doesn't make like I just don't see what their like goal with this. Like who's like are you selling it to hospitals then? I guess.
Yeah, it seems like to me it's more like targeted towards like healthcare fields or like places that like maybe even like at a retirement facility or something like that where they can scan and say, okay, this room right here has a lot of the virus. Let's do a cleanup job on it, and then people can use it again.
Yeah, that makes sense because I was just kind of like I just didn't see like the use of like doing this.
But if they did like build it into watches and phones and it just scans like in the background, maybe they could gather all that data across like everybody and then kind of see like where viruses tend to be, and they could use that as like a way to like figure out like these types of areas are safe and these types of areas are not. I know there's different things they can do.
Time's up, Mike. Let's keep moving. Go. Next topic.
Amazon is buying dead malls, and the reason why is fascinating. Actually, it's not. Stupid article title.
They're just making distribution centers out of these malls. It makes sense. Malls are big. They have a lot of space. They're already set up for deliveries and things like that. It just makes sense that Amazon is repurposing these areas.
Yeah, they said between 2016 and 2019, they bought over 25 shopping malls, which I didn't know Amazon bought that many. But I personally don't like this idea because malls are typically in places where people want to go or like in high traffic areas. And you don't want like that quality real estate eaten up by like a distribution center. You kind of want distribution centers off like in areas where people don't normally go. So that way it's not taking up like prime real estate. And I don't understand why like we're giving this prime real estate to Amazon just to use for like nothing more than a shipping center.
Well, because malls are dying, but also think about it. Like you're saying, like these high traffic areas, they're going to employ a lot of people that come into this area.
Yeah, but they will. But like, it's not serving any like a mall. Like I see serves like a multiple purpose. I don't like them per se, but at least it gets you out of the house. It gets you moving. It lets you experience like products you normally wouldn't experience.
But a lot of these malls are just abandoned anyway.
Yeah, I know, but like I think there needs to be a way to like modernize and do things to malls, like maybe tear them down and build parks, and then also like mixed retail. I don't know, but I just don't think it's a good idea to give up this prime real estate space to Amazon.
I think you're seeing a lot like lately, like a lot newer malls have like the outdoor like shopping area and like a smaller indoor shopping area that would be like your mall.
Yeah.
You're seeing a lot more places like that, and I think that's working better, but this just makes sense to me. We'll talk. We're out of time, but next topic, Mike. Are we done with it? Yeah,
we got one more, and AT&T lobbies against nationwide fiber. Says 10 megabits per second are good. Its uploads are good enough. This kind of made me angry because I feel like our country is like held back by like all these big companies that like lobby to keep like this segment of population or this business segment to themselves, and they don't want the government meddling with it.
And they don't want to spend money on it.
No. And the thing is they're like, well, we already have existing service to these customers. They don't like it when there's multiple like options for people. And that's what they see this as, is like the customers getting multiple options, and that's not good for us personally.
Yeah, and they don't want to because the big thing is like in a lot of these areas they would have, because they're still using like phone lines in a lot of areas, they would have to put in fiber optics for this.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do that. They don't want to have to spend the money, even though last time, because like when it jumped, they jumped before they fought it because they don't have to update it, but they got money from the government to do it. Yeah, they don't want to have to deal with it.
And 10 megabits per second is not good enough. I'm sorry. It's not.
No, not at all.
Especially
not
when people have 4K now, gaming, work from home, all sorts of stuff, school from home.
Like, AT&T is willing to do the high-speed internet as long as it's in cities where they couldn't get their money back. They don't care about these poor areas.
Well, like, think about it. Like, if you run this, fiber's expensive.
Yeah. So they're not making no money back on it.
Distance thing for like 10 customers, you're not going to ever get your money back for those 10 customers. That's why you have to subsidize it. And, they don't want that to happen. So it's
No,
not in
because
their
then they
best
have to
interest
upkeep
for
it and
that.
all. No, they don't care about it. And like it's laughable when they said like, "Oh, it's enough for somebody to use."
Yeah, it's kind of infuriating personally, but yeah. Let's jump into our news stories of the week. Our first one is Neuralink. This is another company that's Elon Musk, I guess, funded, or I don't know who owns it. If it's like a subsidiary of like Tesla or not, I don't know.
I thought it was one of his companies. But
It's hard to unpack what's the main company and like what's the hierarchy here if they're not related at all, if they're just separate companies, entities. But forget about that. They're all run by Elon Musk. He's like kind of like the guy pushing them forward. And Neuralink, how would you explain it best? It's basically like they're trying to develop a brain-computer interface where you can like use computers to better your brain and use your brain to talk to computers.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the initial goal is like, yeah, just using your brain to move computers.
Like manipulate like a cursor on a mouse cursor or like control your phone without touching it, stuff like that.
Yeah, so first they put like a chip in a pig, but then they...
So I didn't actually read that because I remember they did this pig thing like a couple years ago. Like, what did they do? Like, what did the pig do with the chip? I forget.
I forget what it did. I remember reading it when it first came out. I just know it was like a big deal. If you want to look it up, I'll talk about what they're doing now.
Well, there's actually a link in the article that directs to that. So if anybody's interested in what that chip did, then they can click on that link.
So what they're doing now is they put a chip in a monkey's brain and had it play Pong.
Oh, wait, Alex. A monkey? They like to be called macaws. And
Do they?
I guess a macaw's a monkey. Sorry, I tried to make it all like they're offended, but I doubt it.
But like it's kind of a big deal because that's what the closest animal to humans. Some people think we evolved for monkeys. Some people think we didn't. So
great. Thanks for that.
You don't know what side me and Mike are on, but we do run a technology podcast.
Mystery.
But they had it playing Pong, and like the monkey was controlling the paddle with his mind.
The thing is with Pong is I would have never guessed that Pong was supposed to be ping pong. Like
really? It's a table tennis.
Yeah, but it's just like a square moving back and forth, and two white lines like knocking the square back and forth. But anyways, this monkey was able to control it. Like I guess they taught him first to
how to
use
play
his
the
hand,
game,
like to play it like with his like a joystick. I'm pretty sure. And then I guess they analyzed his brain waves and everything while he was playing it so they can recreate it with like the brain implants. So once they got those working, he could visually control like the paddles with his brain, which is pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah, and like the first goal of Neuralink, and this is what Musk was saying, is like eventually get like paraplegics and all like to be able to use phones and like text and
this is
contact people. Like that's like it's like further down the line, but like it will give them they can interface with the computer to be able to do these things and like kind of give them a voice and all like using that, which is like cool technology. And like even further down the line, it would be able to get people who like can't walk or anything to be able to walk again by
using the computer to fix parts of the brain that were like possibly broken.
Yeah,
that could, because usually what a lot of the paralysis is your brain damage. Those links to your muscles. So you just kind of forget how to walk. So I guess the computer will help relink you up. Not a doctor, and obviously know nothing. But I personally, didn't he say when he first started Neuralink that he wanted to basically move the human brain to a computer so we could have eternal life? I think that's
I
like
think
his,
that's his goal.
actual goal for himself?
A lot of these like crazy rich people like crazy geniuses do want to live forever, and that's just been a goal for a lot of people. Like the first part of Neuralink, like helping people, is what I'm all about. But he has said in the past, like he wants to like use this like to keep his like mind and all alive forever. And like I that part I don't get.
Do you really think his drive is to help people, or do you think his real goal is to live forever?
I think it's both. The helping people is what's going to fund the company.
All right, well, So Alex, Twitter poll of the week, and you can answer. Who cares about like if this messes things up or not? But would you, if you had the choice, would you move your brain over to a computer like interface to live forever? Would you take that risk, and would you do it?
No, not at all. Like, so are you just like a conscience in this computer? Like, that's what I don't get. Like,
well, I mean, obviously technology will get better, so they'll probably put you in a robot body, and then eventually they'll probably get a synthetic body that's kind of like a human skin, like something similar to human skin. And
but can I touch, feel, love? No, I have no desire. Like, when my time comes, my time comes.
Well, they can already simulate touch on like if you got like a robotic hand. I think there's ways they can make it so you feel like what you're touching with the robotic hand.
I don't know. I don't have any desire really.
My only question is it actually you? So like if they moved you over, is this just like you're actually dead and it's some other conscience?
Unless they can put me in like a Frankenstein body that's made up of other human parts, I don't want it.
You would be big into like the tech thing where you can like upgrade your arm or upgrade your like get robot hair.
Yeah, I would have robot hair. Yeah, I don't know, like that's like putting like the idea of putting my mind in a, like, can you still learn?
I don't
know. Do you still experience stuff? Like I don't know. Like mankind is always like fascinated by like trying to live forever, and
people should just watch the classic movie Chappie.
I never saw Chappie.
I think it's about this. I don't remember much about the movie, but I'm pretty sure.
I know Hugh Jackman had cool hair in that movie. That was it.
Let's just jump on to the next one because we're running out of stuff to say about it. But the U.S., this next headline I found kind of interesting, but the U.S. is really close to screwing up electric vehicle charging forever.
This one, I did find this fascinating. So, like, we don't think about it because we're younger and it's been pretty much set, but, like, our cars run on gasoline and everybody uses that, and, like, now, those diesel and all and method, like, newer types of, like, gas or, like, alcohol for your car.
Well, also think about this. Like, remember when cell phones first came out and every single brand had their own charger, and like like I remember like working at a cell phone company, and literally it had a binder full of different adapters for different cell phone models and different brands, and that was early on. And what you're getting at is gasoline cars are all the same. You can pretty much pull over anywhere.
Yeah, but like in the past, you used to have like cars that ran on kerosene and different things when cars first started, because that's what they made it. And now we're kind of seeing that with the charging stations. Was there
back in the day? Was there did they have to release regulation to say all cars have to run on this type of fuel? I wonder, or
maybe, or because now we have like different standards,
or maybe it was just some sort of agreement. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to spring a question like that onto you, but
no, like I think it could either be that or like just like they figured out that gasoline was the best option.
What's funny is my car takes like corn fuel, ethanol. So I didn't even know that existed, and I bought the car and it says, oh, you could also fuel it up with I think it's 83 octane or something like that.
Yeah. Which is like, that's only been like the past like 10 or 15 years. That's a newer thing.
But I don't think I've ever been to a gas station that had that.
Really? I think BPs have them a lot.
Okay.
I've seen them before.
But anyways, let's get moving on this.
Yes. Well, like, the issue is that like all these car companies are having their own charging stations.
Like their own proprietary thing.
Yeah, or like their own port that like plugs in. So like Tesla has their own one.
Yeah, Tesla's like the biggest example, right? So they actually spent a bunch of money to make their own network early on. And I think it's the biggest one in our country, right?
Yeah, I think there's more Tesla charging stations than all the other ones combined.
And what the thing is I always thought if you had another electric car, you could still get your car charged at the Tesla. You just use an adapter. But then I found out later that only Teslas can charge at a Tesla charger.
Yeah, like they have a setup that they can only do it.
But the funny thing is Teslas can charge at a lot of the other universal chargers as well by using an adapter.
Yeah, and like you kind of have to take your adapter with you or have different ones for different charging stations.
Yeah.
So it's like really becoming a problem because if you want to take a long car trip, like you have to make sure you can charge your car.
Yeah, you have to make sure you can charge your car. And I did see that one of the writers of this article said that all these networks have their own payment plan types thing, and you can't sign up for the network when you're at the pump. You have to sign up ahead of time. So he had to like have like a whole book of like different like charging network cards that you would use to like at the charger to say you have an account with them.
Yeah, and like it's just like it's like if they really want these electric cars to be the future, as you're seeing what a lot of these companies are, like the government's going to have to do something, or private companies are going to have to do something, or these car companies are just going to have to agree on like, hey, this is our charging
standard
for these.
Yeah. Well,
but you don't even have that yet with phones yet, and like in the article, like you're saying, Tesla's like the iPhone of car makers, and like it is true because they like kind of just do their own thing, and like iPhone has their own charger, and like but like a lot of the rest of them have all kind of adopted to the standard charger.
Yeah, there was actually laws passed that phones would have to all have the same like universal charger, and I don't know if it was like they decided not to pass the law because all the manufacturers agreed upon one thing anyways, so they just kind of just left it up to the manufacturers. But yeah, what happened is actually Apple brought it up first, and they're the ones who brought it up to vote. And then they pulled out at the last minute, and they kept their own charger, and all the other manufacturers went with USB. I think it was micro. And
I think so.
And then now the standard is USB-C. So USB-C is the standard on phones. But I'm with you. Like, they need to put a stop now, because if they don't, there's going to be a proprietary network for every single brand. Like, affordable, and it's just waste, because there's going to be like just chargers sitting out there and not being able to be used with other cars, and just electricity, right? It's just electricity.
Yeah, and like some chargers are super fast chargers, some chargers are slow, some like won't even charge your car at all if it's not the right thing. And like Biden wants to build like, you know, said like 100,000 or 500,000 charging stations over the next decade. But there's no standards, so like, what are you building?
Yeah, there's no standard. So, I mean, there is like the universal-ish charger that most cars will take. And I guess that's somewhat of a standard, because even Teslas can use that. But those universal ones, they don't charge as fast as like the superchargers that Tesla has. So like a lot of people aren't going to get a lot of use out of them, or it's just not going to drive the market, because people are unsure of the quality of these chargers, and unsure of like if they're reliable and if they're going to work, and and how to find them. They're all like scattered about, and there's like not a good way to find all these chargers.
Yeah, didn't the EU pass like a standardization of like the electric cars
Yeah, I think EU starting to take control of this and kind of forcing the automakers to have one standard. The reason what this guy wrote this article, or the reason why he did this is because have you heard of the new electric car company Rivian?
Yeah.
They announced a huge investment in their own build out of a proprietary network. So I guess their thought is the only way to compete with Tesla, because that's like an added like bonus to buying a Tesla, is you have this huge network. Their only way in is to build their own network. So Rivian's going to have their own proprietary network. So just like you said, it just doesn't make sense to have all these proprietary networks when they could just combine their resources and make enough chargers for everybody.
Yeah, because like then long gone are the days of like the BPs or like the standard gas stations. So I wonder, like, like if those are coming in and like, hey, if you just want to make this standard, we can like do this and we can.
Do you think there's not a standard yet because the government really didn't take it 100% serious until recently? Because I feel like a lot of people, before Tesla, a lot of people just saw electric cars as a very niche product. And Tesla is actually one of the only electric manufacturers that is actually is selling a bunch of vehicles. And a lot of the other car manufacturers aren't selling a lot yet.
I mean, I know in the 90s they had the electric car. There's like a really good documentary. I think it's called The Death of the Electric Car. About like those first generation of electric cars, and they got trashed a ton. Yeah,
it was like too soon type thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the marketing from the big car companies just trashed them, and these cars are weak and they don't have the horsepower. And
what's funny though is like that. There's a lot of cars I didn't realize came out back then. I found out there was a Ford Ranger like electric pickup truck like back in the 90s.
Really? Yeah, I think like people thought at that point it was going to catch on, and like I think you see that occasionally. Like you saw that with like the computer, like you had your first generations of computers, and people like, oh, these are lame, and what can it do? And like over time, it slowly gets better, and then even like you saw in like the 80s, were like, oh, you have a computer, you're a nerd, and then now everybody uses a computer. What are you gonna? But
I almost do think it's too soon to make a standard, just because it squelches like ideas of like, okay, we designed this charger that's super fast. Like maybe wait a little bit longer, and then once there's a really, really good one, they just tell everybody to use that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like the phone charger now. Like it's probably the best it has ever been. Yeah. Is like what we have now for the chargers. So like I do think you should give it a little bit of time, but I do think there should be like a universal, so you can just stop at any rest area and.
But how much waste is there going to be? Because it's easy to buy a new charger for your phone, or like a lot of times they come in the box. But think about this: like they build out this gigantic network, they spend tons and tons of money, and then like 3 years later, or 2 years later, that tech is outdated and it doesn't charge up the cars fast enough, and they have to build out a whole nother new network.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I also wonder about like the new gas stations being built, or like gas stations in general. Like, do they get repurposed? Because a lot of times when you like repurpose the gas stations, then you have to dig out those tanks and refill those holes and then repave it and all.
I think there's just a whole bunch of unknowns.
That's what I say. I still say 2050 is my guess for like everybody driving electric cars. I think these companies are trying to move so fast to get in this market because Tesla is forcing them in this market, because Tesla was the first like these are cool cars that drive well, and I think that really helps that. And I know he's like a polarizing person, but I do think like Elon Musk is like a big selling point of it, that he's such a big personality that people are behind it. Like you have a face of the company, and I think that helps.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, you want to get into a sad segment of the week?
Yeah, let's get into the tech RIP.
Well, Logitech, you had a good run.
Did you ever have these remotes?
I never had the remote, but I had like the controller for the computer, for like an emulator.
Yeah, they're shutting down the Logitech Harmony remotes, and that was back when people had huge two cable boxes and a DVD player, a VHS player, a sound system. Like, I feel like people used to have a lot more components, and so back then, these universal remotes were like programmable, and you could have like all your components on one remote. It was kind of useful for people who are big nerds with their audio video stuff.
Yeah, and Logitech is, I mean, they're pretty much the company that tries to make something that adapt to every other company. Or every other, like, anybody can use it.
Yeah.
So that's like a third party, and they're a really good third party. And they made a really good universal remote.
They're so expensive. Like, they had ones that are like upwards of like $200, $300. But yeah, there's a lot of people. I was surprised at how many people were like upset about this. I'm not, because I never used them. But yeah, it's like kind of the death of like infrared blaster remotes.
Yeah, the home theater.
The home theater, yeah. Kind of the death of that time a little bit. But, well, that's the episode for this week. Thanks for tuning in. You could find us at The Future Jam on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And if you want to leave us a message, ask us a question, we'll play it on the show. It's 513-BOT-COLA. Anything I'm missing, Alex?
No, check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
I said that.
Oh, did you? I zoned out. I apologize.
Oh my gosh. You can only pay attention for so long, can't you?
Yeah, it's been a long ass day.
Yeah, I understand. You just got vaccinated, and you probably are slowly fading.
Yeah, I'm fully vaccinated. We'll have to wait 2 weeks. So
2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm fully. Yeah, you're supposed to wait. You're considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after your shot.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought you had to get a second shot. So you got your second shot.
And then you're fully vaccinated. So in 2 weeks, we could do a live jam in person.
Yeah, we might be able to do that. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. And we'll let you go to sleep. What? I assume everybody listens to this show right before they go to bed.
Well, they all have the nightcaps on, and then they're laying in the blanket with the blankets on, and then they slowly listen to your voice as it fade out and says, "Good night, everybody."
Good night, folks. Sweet dreams.
We here at the Future Jam love you and want you to have a good night.
Tuck your covers in.